What is up, everybody? Lord Golson here, and basically, I'm gonna do a little short tutorial on gears. I'm still learning the tricks and trades, so bear with me. But this is just so people can get an idea of what gears do exactly. I've been messing with the gears for about 4 days now, and let's see what I can show you right here. So let's put on our gears so we can be able to see them. As you can see, I'm going to give you a little reference of what I did up here and then give you an understanding of what exactly everything is doing. Now I have this one right here is just for the look motion and how far exactly I can tilt my head up and down, I believe. Let me check. Yes. So I have a radius on this so I can go up, down, or left or right, depending how I decide to move it. And let's go to reset. Okay, I can't reset it, so let's just try to fix it back to where it was originally. Now, messing with gears, the thing about gears is that you gotta know how you're turning and where exactly you're turning. So depending on how you grip the head, like if I grip it from this side, I can only go up and down with the right joystick. But if I grip it from the front like this, it's basically the same thing but a different motion from viewing it. So it's complicated, but once you start moving around with your character like this, as so, with the remote and the gears, like you'll start to understand like what direction on the joystick you're supposed to use eventually after doing it for multiple times and just constantly trying to work it out. Now, this one right here is just another cork. I believe this is for the neck to be able to move a certain radius when I pull it. When I pull and drag my neck, I can move my neck as far as that inner one goes. Let me take this one out so y'all can see exactly what I'm doing here. So that inner one gives me the radius at which I can turn my neck. So I could pull my neck all the way back here and then pull it forward, and that's just pulling off the head. Now if I start pulling off the neck, as you can see, the head no longer moves, but the neck now moves. And the reason why this neck is movable is because of these joints. These are like joints. They're play like joints. And once you put them into effect with another one that's already connected to the same body parts or similar body parts, because I have this shoulder blade connected to the elbow. Now the reason why I have this shoulder blade, excuse me, connected to the elbow is because when you move the arm, now I have length to move the arm in whichever position that I feel necessary to move it. So it's almost as if I have the perfect positioning for the shoulder blade to do exactly what a real live shoulder would do in real life. So if it wasn't for this joint, I wouldn't be able to move in such a 360 perspective, because what I'm about to show you now is the two perspectives of which I have. The first perspective is the inner arm radius. Basically, this would be your collarbone slash shoulder bone. And then this one is basically a radius to which I can turn my whole shoulder, how you can maneuver your shoulder in real life. You can almost twist your shoulder in a 360, and some people kinda can do it if they're double jointed. So basically, I gave my puppet double joints, but not double jointed to the point where I could just like go anywhere with it like a real double jointed person. I mean double jointed as for a puppet in a video game. He's double jointed now, so now I can move and control the movement of my arm a lot more better than I would be able to do it with just this one alone. So going back into the shoulder piece, I wanted to give you a demonstration of what exactly that means by raising this radius a little bit more, and let's just see how far I can go now. It's pretty much the same because I have it lined up to the point where I don't want it to go out of proportion too far. So basically I really can't show you how double jointed it would be. I would literally have to move the whole piece itself like this and put it like up there somewhere. But even so, well, yeah, see, now I can't, now I could no longer move my arm as high as that point was before. Like over here, I'm able to move this arm. Wait, why am I not able to move this arm like that? Wow, I really like proportion this to the right degree. Like I said, I'm learning, so bear with me while I teach. But like I said, this is just to give people a reference of how to exactly build the perfect arm motion, especially for like animations when you're trying to do like quick animations and stuff. You could basically use this type of puppet for doing animated cutscenes and stuff, and then you could use like the logical puppet, the basic deluxe logical puppet for like your character, because the arm movement is good on this one. But let me try to give you a little comparison to what I'm trying to tell you as far as both arms. So as we can see with this puppet right here, I can move the arm in any direction as well and do a full 360. But there's no captivity to that limit. So I can just go in a complete circle with this one. I could spin in a complete circle with this one. And that's good. And like I said, I think this is good for like character play and character development. But the reason why I technically made an advanced version of the deluxe puppet is because I want to be able to make animes as quickly as possible and not deal with the whole conjunction of my arm being able to go within itself and basically just zip around any which way that it wants. I wanted it to be as realistic as possible when moving my arm. So that way when I'm precising my body builds, like for instance, let me just bring in one of my puppets that I created. And he's a little complex as well, and he has a lot of complex gadgets and gears inside of him. And I don't know where he's at, so I'm gonna have to find him like always, either by shrinking him or making him bigger. Okay, there he goes. So let's put him in the world so people can see him. Let's bring him down close by the others. And now I could demonstrate what exactly am I talking about when it comes to shoulder persistency, I guess you could say. So this character's still in, well, this tweaking of this character's inner gears is still in a process, but he does move and play pretty good. Honestly, I feel as though he moves better than the new version that I made. But it's on. I feel as though it's only because of the way the the um the character is formatted. And as you can see, I have like a wobbly effect to my arms as if they have their own joints. And that's the difference between this character and that character that I'm noticing, is that my original complex puppet arms have like a certain bop to them when you're walking with him. As you can see from behind, he has like a certain bop to his shoulders, as this one, it's not so much of a bop. Like, so I'm gonna do a demonstration to really figure out why exactly it does that and try to explain it, because like I said, I'm trying to learn myself in the process, so do bear with me. But for what I've done so far, I feel as though like I really come a long way with just understanding how all of this works. Now, as you can see, I have one joint here, and I'm guessing this is the joint that's making the wobbly effect. And my my only conclusion as to why it's making this wobbly effect consistently is because it has this stretch right here consistently. So when the arm is moving, when you're walking, this stretch is like making it bounce. As for this puppet right here, there is no stretch in his arm when I have them at the perfect precise um alignment. So let's try to separate these puppets from each other, so that way they're not following each other and not on our way. And I could continue to demonstrate what else I have done with the body movement, because I even made the lower body a little bit more complex, and I'll give you a visual of what I mean right now with these two puppets. This is the regular deluxe puppet. I did a little something down here, so don't worry about this. This is not in the deluxe puppet, but everything up here is definitely in the deluxe puppet. So with the deluxe puppet, as you can see, if I move the body, he twists only because of those gadgets right there. If I had not put these gadgets here, these two gears, he wouldn't be able to twist his body in such a motion. Well, he would be able to twist his body in such a motion, but there wouldn't be a captivity to it. Like, as far as me being able to bend all the way back here. Now if I go back and then let me bring those gears back real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So now I could go all the way back. But if I tweak this one to give it a certain radius, right? Let's just lower the radius so I can demonstrate what I mean. Okay, that's not the one it's bouncing off of, and it keeps moving off of this one. Hold on, let me see this one there. Okay, yeah, that's the one it's bouncing off of. It's bouncing off of this one, I believe. Wait, no, it's not bouncing off of that one either. Which one is it bouncing off of? Matter of fact, let me just bring in a regular dummy. Let's do that. Bear with me. Like I said, I'm still learning. Let's go to Blank Puppet Deluxe, right? Boom. Put that in there. Let's go into him. Now, as you can see, the body does have motion, but I can stretch all the way back like that, which seems a bit unrealistic, if you ask me, for a body to do something like this. So in this one, in this puppet over here, what I did was I made it so I can't bend all the way back like that. See how far back this one bends compared to how far back I can bend this one? And that's because of these two gears right here are locked in a certain, well, oh yeah, I apologize. I apologize. It has nothing to do with these two gears because, like I said, these two gears are just the stretch aspect of where and how I can stretch my character, and it gives me an idea of where where I'm stretching and how far I'm stretching. But the real radius is, let me get rid of these wires real quick. I got some wires like running on the same rate, so they're like linked to, and if you want to do that, you can do that like this to give you a demonstration of what I was just talking about as far as linking stuff, linking rates. So let's say I want these two to be the same radius of degrees. I would link, for some reason it's not giving me the option to link these two, but let me just show you another sequence. Let's go down to the conjoined hips right here. All right. Why isn't it? Where's the link at? Hold on. Where the hell is that link at? Alright, it's in the wrist that I did it. No, it's here. Okay, that's why I can't. Oh, now I can grab it. Wow. I don't know what's wrong. There's like little bugs and trinkets. Sometimes the game doesn't respond for some reason to what you're trying to do. But going back to what I was saying originally, say I wanted these to be at the same radius at all times. I would link this into this. Now they become one to the point where if I was to move, why isn't it working, man? What's going on here? There we go. That's what I did wrong. You would link it from left to right, and now they became sequence. But you would have to move this one in order for them to both move. And I think I was right. Let's see. We learning here. We're learning. So yeah, it's pretty much the same. All right. So the links doesn't matter which way you put it from. It just matters which one. The one that's lit up is the one that controls both of them. But if you go to this one, then you would be only controlling one side, and you pretty much get the idea from viewing that yourself. But let's dive back into this character. So let me go back to make sure I didn't mess everything up as far as, let's just go back to that original position that I had. Alright, there we go. And let's move the wires, and I'm about to end this shortly after I talk about this one thing dealing with the hips and the top chest piece, because like I said, I can move either from the chest or I can move from the hips. But the difference between the chest and the hips is that The hips is gonna move over the over over your hip bones. Well, the waist, I should say, is gonna move over your hip bones when I pull it by the waist. But if I pull it by the chest, since the chest is connected with the waistline, it's gonna move the waistline on top of the hip line. And then going over here, if I do that with this, as you can see, it doesn't seem as realistic when you're moving it like this, but when I move it with the other one, it the body just moves a lot more realistic, and that's really what I was going for when creating these. And again, with the chest, as you can see, judging from moving that puppet compared to moving this puppet, it just seems more clunky when you're moving your character, because like I said, the gears are not locked, so you can literally go in a 360 motion. And that's what I didn't want while attempting to do animes for little cut scenes and short scenes. So what I'm beginning to realize is that this puppet, the complex puppet over here that I'm trying to develop, it is good for gameplay, but I would advise using it for cutscenes and animations, more so gameplay. But it will be good for gameplay. I just need to really tweak out the finishing touches for it to be game playable, because for some reason every time I go to the legs and try to tamper with the legs start getting off balance and off course, and I haven't figured out how to reset the puppet logic to the point where he's in the perfect upright position. So if anybody knows how to do that, please write it in the comments. I've been meaning to look for it, but I've been so attached to figuring out the trinkets of this puppet and this game overall that I haven't really went into research for it, even though I know I could probably find it pretty fast. But I'm so determined to learn about animation that I literally been messing with this puppet for like a week since the game came out. Well, I say about 4 days, because when the game first came out, I was just doing stuff, seeing stuff. I wasn't really messing with the gears. But just to give you an idea of what I was talking about, realisticness, let's go back to moving this one. As you can see, my body can't move in a 360 aspect, meaning I can't go in a complete circle when holding my character. I can here because that's not jointed, and the reason why I didn't want to joint that is because it fumbles back and forth when you're trying to like really analyze. I mean, when you're really trying to angle what position you want to have your character. So it really like it messes it up. So I left this free because at the end of the day, because of the way I have the motion set up, I would probably never have to use L2 to like grab and maneuver it, and I will always be able to just grab it and maneuver it, grab it and maneuver it, and move it with the R2 button, and really try to like figure out how I want to angle my body at what position, and then like even turn it. If you turn your motion control, if you like move it side to side, you can also angle like that. So you technically won't would never have to use L2 unless you're trying to be like extremely precise about how you're trying to position your character. That would be like the only reason why I would actually use L2, is like really to like position precise a precise position of what your character will be doing or looking like or standing like, and so on and so forth. Another thing I've learned about my character is this after doing what I've done. As you can see with this character, there is no motion with the motion controller except for your head. And wait a second, there is motion. Okay, so you could just move. Well, yeah, if people didn't know that, if you move your controller um up towards you, meaning the touchpad moving towards your face and down towards your stomach, your character would do this. So this is even on the regular deluxe version. So you could kind of make like a little video just moving your character like this with your motion controller kind of. And that's just an idea of that. So one last thing before I go, let's look at the gadgets real quick. I mean the gears again. Let's zoom in, and this character is, it's in the works, and I did this as far as the body and forming the body and stuff. I took it from a character called Mel Puppet, and then I've kind of redesigned my own body structure so I can get an idea of how I want muscles to move when I'm moving my character technically. So to give you an idea, as you can see, the rib cage, I mean the six pack stays in format with the back, and it just all goes together, you know. And then the arms, like I said, let's put on mirror mode and see. Then the arms is pretty much the same complexity of the other one, but the other one just has more detailing as far as where exactly it can move. And the reason why I did one on each side is because, let's go off mirror mode. This hand is basically free to do whatever it wants, however it wants, whenever it wants. And yeah, I do have a radius on this, so that's why it won't go where it wants to go. But let's look at the difference between how I can move this one without this gadget, without the shoulder blade joint. So let's see the difference. I can move it like this, and this is just holding down. I'm doing this. If I hold up, it's the same rotation. If I hold right, it's that rotation. Left is this rotation. And then let's just move it in a different direction and then do it again. So if I hold right, I'm going to do that. If I hold left, I'm going to do that. If I hold up, I'm going to do that. But you see what I mean? How it snaps to that position? That's what the back was doing. And that's why I had to like leave the back freely, because you see this one, I can't bend all the way back. I can't go in a complete circle. And then let's try the lower body. I can't go all the way back. I can't go in a complete circle. And that kind of disrupts the 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 configuring of how I want to position my character. But it does give it a more realistic appeal. But going back to the arm, let's move this side and then see what type of maneuvers I can do. So this is going left, this is going right, this is going down, this is going up. And as you can see, it goes a little bit more back. As you can see, that gear right there is giving it waypoint for it to go that far back. As for this one, if I was to try to go that far back, what would happen? It would just flip right back to itself. It doesn't have that extra little pull on it. And it's very hard to notice it, especially when you're not moving it in the same angle as before. But there is a slight difference